So I don't know. Obviously, most of y'all, I don't know where my primary audience is from, because obviously I speak in English. So I always tell you about my little narrative that happened in Barcelona, like around 2019, 2020, when all of a sudden I started being allegedly accused of being a snitch for a really bad neighborhood that I lived in, right? And then even when I moved out the neighborhood and I went to the mountains, I went and then it just continued and they were like people were acting weird and all this stuff and this whole little narrative, right? So lo and behold, obviously, they would like every summer, especially like this is how I think the narrative was, and this is what I overheard from like little parasitics. It would be like every summer she's there and she's like a snitch and then she goes on vacation with her kids. Mind you, I've been going on vacation with my kids like even way before this all started. Interesting enough, this is where the part that I don't know, not to hype myself up or anything, because I'm just ranting, but sometimes I'll be thinking to myself, right? Like when I first arrived to Barcelona, again, it was very calm in 2007. There were like hardly any guns and stuff like that. Now I'm sorry, I forgot to say that word. And there were hardly any pew pews, right? The laws were strict back then, right? Now, mind you, I'm from the States. I do believe in pew pew rights, okay? Because precisely, especially in a situation like in the States where you have a lot of little parasites running around, I do feel like we should be able to protect ourselves in our homes. Granted, in Europe and Spain, that kind of climate didn't exist. It's like I have been out of Barcelona for like a year. It would be like a year now, right? Like all of a sudden, it's like from night to day. Like it started right before I left, right? Like besides the fact that there were like all these weird things happening and trying to make it look like ominous, like there's some kind of like drug war happening, and then they were like accusing me. Like it was so weird, like the way I was like overhearing, because again, I did not know what kind of reality this was. But it's funny because after that, Barcelona now, every other day, there's some kind of news report of a shooting, and it's always something about, in Spanish, they call it, what is it? Justa de cuenta, oh my God, de cuentas. But basically, it's like, evening the score, whatever. Like, they're always implicating now that it's related to some kind of like drug war or something happening, same characters, same nationalities that they mention. Like, it's so interesting because I say to myself, imagine in Simlandia, they were really doing all these weird stuff. And then, like, now the light has gone from that area. And now, like, I wouldn't say I was necessarily the only light, but I feel like imagine that obviously with all of the attacks that I've received, that in the spirit, I actually somehow maintained the light or was feeding the grid on that system or something like that. I don't know, just imagine. And now I'm not there, and it's just like I feel like now, like every time you watch the news, like some kind of mayhem going on in Barcelona. Like Barcelona, there's a shooting. This never was like that before. So and obviously, that there are a lot of good people. I can never speak bad about everybody because there's a lot of good people that helped me and everything when I was in Barcelona. But the last weeks when I was there, when they were really doing that targeting really hard and playing games in Simlandia, the little parasites, where they were doing like a lot of crazy stuff to psych me out in the public transportation and all that. So, part of me, not for nothing, not to be resentful, not to be petty like 50, but yes, part of me is like, you let the little parasites win in that little zone, right? So now it's like mayhem over there. But anyways, it's all right. It's all right. We're still praying for everybody to awaken and still overcome all of these distractions and all that. But it's just pretty interesting because it was precisely the kind of narrative, if you look at my videos about what the narrative was, and now like all these stories in Barcelona is like this mayhem, this kind of thing, right? And I'm not even there anymore, so that's why it's like it's not fun, but it's just kind of like interesting to be watching and be like, oh crap, oh, because it was, what I'm trying to say, because obviously Simlandia was doing all sorts of nonsense out there, so I don't know. But the darkness is running amok over there in Barcelona if you hear the news. So they've made, I think there was always an agenda to make Barcelona into like this dangerous place from a long time. From a long time, I always feel like even when you used to read the news and things would happen like in Madrid, anytime it happened in Barcelona, it would always be deemed like even worse. And over the years, like, the 20 years I lived in Barcelona, it became very multicultural. You started getting a lot of expats, but I just think it became very multicultural, and I don't know. You never know how this little simulation works with the energy wise. And maybe that's a form of like controlling, you know what I mean? Like keeping everybody in fear now. It's the city, it's Gotham City. It's a fear. Everybody's getting shot in Barcelona. And you don't hear this. Like, I don't know. They just I don't know. I don't know. I just find that very interesting. I find it all very interesting. I can watch from the sidelines now, especially because I know how this little world works. And yeah, it's just pretty interesting. So they ran out the light worker. They ran out the light from that little region. Everybody thought it was like ha 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 ha, funny, 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 right? Now they got hell to play. That's all I gotta say. But it's all right. It's all right. We will eventually, in general, in this region, overcome. I'm just saying. I just think that's pretty interesting.